All right, this recording is to talk about what falsifying attendance is and what to do with it and who needs to do what. So, the basic definition is falsifying attendance is when the time that's actually spent in the online high school does not match with the time that a family is logging for their daily attendance. The way you're going to know how much time a student is actually spending is by looking in the OHS at that particular student. So, um, if it is your own class, you would just go to the progress screen, and when you go to the progress screen, it would pull up the progress summary. If you're a homeroom teacher, you would have to view as the student. So once you were impersonating as that student, if you went to more, you could go to My Progress and see all of their classes, or you could use these little boxes up here to go to each individual class and then click on the progress screen. No matter which way you get there, you're going to see a progress summary. You need to make sure you're in the summary portion, and what you're looking for is down here under content. It says time spent, and it'll give you the total number of days, hours, minutes, and seconds. Okay, students should be spending about 1 hour per class every single day. So that would mean that the hours would match whatever day of school it is. So in this example, if it's day 12 of school, then the hours should be around 12 hours. Now, if you're not sure, or maybe your course isn't as heavy as some other courses and you don't think that it's actually taking students a full hour every day to do work in the OHS, then I recommend that you look at your entire class, focusing specifically on those highly engaged students that you know are putting in the work and the effort, and then see what their hours are. And then, if they have an average of 18, 19, 17 hours, then that's kind of the range for where your students should be at that point. Okay, the answer to this question is, well, it's everybody's responsibility. It's easiest for the content teacher to catch attendance being off, mainly because it's a quick process to scroll through the students and look and compare the hours. So when you're in that progress menu, if you click on your first student's name on the roster, you'll notice that there's arrows, and those arrows, just by clicking on it, you can quickly go through each student and see whose hours are drastically low. When a content teacher notices that a student has low hours, they should notify the homeroom teacher, and they should be doing some type of an intervention, whether it's calling home or talking to the student in a class connect or sending an email with a screenshot of the student's hours and what the hours actually should be. There should be some type of intervention there. Homeroom teachers should always be on the lookout for this. When you are checking the tracker, you can look and see how many hours a student spends for the entire week on a class. So here's an example. This is an honors class. This student spent 0.4 hours over the week. Obviously, something's up this week, so this would call for further investigation. If you receive an email from a content teacher about attendance being off in a particular class, you should investigate all the other classes. Is this student doing this across the board, or is it only in that particular class? And same thing, the homeroom teacher should also do an intervention, especially if the content teacher has not done an intervention, or maybe the content teachers haven't even picked up on it yet. And in that case, it would be the homeroom teacher's responsibility to do the intervention. So your intervention should include an email that is noted in TVS, and a good practice is to go ahead and put in the exact time, or even if you wanted to include a snapshot of the My Progress screen from the students, but you want to make sure it's very clear. You want to make sure you note it in TVS, and please don't actually use the words falsifying attendance. That's very accusatory in nature. What we really want to do is just document that your hours are low. We're letting you know that they should be higher, and we plan on following up on your progress. That's an important part to see if they're actually making a change for the better. But when you do send this, please be sure you mark it in TVS so that intervention is documented. All right, at this point, the homeroom teacher needs to decide what steps they want to take. If the falsifying is extreme, so it's, halfway through the semester, there should be at least 20, 30 hours of work, and the student has 2 hours of work, something like that, where it's a super, super extreme case. You might want to adjust attendance. Which I'll talk about more in a second. But after you adjust attendance, you should double check what the total hours are in TVA. And if it's showing missing hours, then you would follow the normal steps for a truancy referral. If there's falsifying going on, but it's not that extreme of a case, and you don't feel like you need to adjust attendance, in that case, you would just follow through with a normal fast referral for overall engagement. If there is a drastic discrepancy in attendance and the homeroom teacher feels like they need to adjust attendance, the homeroom teacher can do that. Before the homeroom teacher does it, though, they need to get approval from their AA. And when sending your email to your AA, there's two important pieces of information you need to include. There should be a snapshot of what the OLS attendance is showing, as well as a snapshot of the OHS progress for that particular class. So like in this example, the OLS is showing that this family has marked that they have done 122 hours in this particular class. But when you look at the time spent in the OHS, it's only showing 3 hours. So this is a drastic difference that might be a case where an AA would go ahead and give the approval to the homeroom teacher to adjust attendance. If your AA gives the homeroom teacher the approval to manually change the attendance, you need to do that in the OLS. And there's two ways you could do it. You could either, when you're in the student's information, you can either click on the attendance tab and click enter attendance now, or under the quick links, you can just choose manage students attendance. Either way, it's going to pull up this menu. You would have to manually go through the days. So you would click to whatever day you wanted to start with, and you could use the arrow to go from one day to the next. You would delete whatever they have and manually enter that 0 and always pressing save. Please be sure you note in TVS if you manually adjust attendance. Finally is bringing FAST in for support on this. So when you're making your referral, there's a few things you need to keep in mind. There has to be an intervention that's directly related to falsifying. So if this is an issue, there should be a phone call, an email, an attempt to reach that student and talk about the fact that their hours in the online high school are low. For the priority list, you can list something like this where it says the priority is engagement and progress. You can note that attendance hours and OHS hours should match, that a student should be completing at least one lesson in every class every day, that a student shouldn't be clicking through lessons but actually reading information. Something like this for the priority list would be appropriate. When you're in the actual referral tracker, the reason for FASL reason number 1 would be false attendance. If you have any questions, please reach out to your lead teacher, your mentor, your AA, and we are happy to help. Thanks so much.